All right, this is going to be lesson 1-6. We are on perpendicular lines through points and angle bisectors, more constructions. We are on standard D. Let's all say hello to Fiona.
Hi, Fiona.
All right, we miss you. All right, so I want to do some stuff. Do we need any review of yesterday, or can we just go straight into new stuff? Straight into new stuff. Okay, so I'm going to call this, it's a long title, I apologize, but go ahead and follow with me. So we have perpendicular, and we can abbreviate here, we're in notes now, perpendicular line through, oh gosh, my handwriting could be better there, line through, through a point. Point. All right, so I'm just going to, don't write this down, but last time we learned, okay, you have a line segment, I could have made this an actual line segment, and we knew how to make that shape. What I want to do now, a little sketch, and don't copy this down again. I have another line segment, and I say, look, there's a point right there. I want a line that is perpendicular to this line, so it comes up through here, perpendicular at a 90-degree angle, and comes through that point. That's what I want to be able to do by the end of the day, along with another angle bisector. So an angle bisector, what does bisect mean again?
To cut.
Yeah, you guys, participation, I like this, thank you. All right. Is it because Fiona isn't here and you're like, okay, now we can actually talk? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, hear you.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because Miss Mary was here. Yeah, bisect.
Maybe because they have
That's what I'm saying. We had fun. Yeah.
Okay. So an angle bisection means I have an angle and I cut it in half. Again, don't draw anything yet. Just giving you a preview of what's to come. All right. We know what's going on. I could have just hit Command Z a bunch of times, but I want to use the eraser. Okay. So what we need to do now, you guys all have your straight edge. Go ahead and use that straight edge to make a line segment. And this is going to take a bit of room, so plan ahead. So there's my line segment. And line segment's not a line, so line segment has usually a point at the end. It can be an arbitrary size. It doesn't actually matter. What matters is where the point is, because that will change the size of what you need. If I make the point really close to the line, then my circles are going to be pretty small. If I make the point really far from the line, it's going to make it really big. So I'm going to say arbitrarily, I want to go through this line. It's kind of close to the line. It's on the right-hand side. I don't want to go right through the center because then you're basically doing a perpendicular bisector, which we already know how to do. So I'm going off to the side. I could go down here, and if I, like, what would be something wrong? Where could the point not go? I could go on the line, because if it was on the line and I want a perpendicular bisector through this point, I could still do that. But where is something that is impossible to draw the point and have a perpendicular line? Over there? Yeah, so I think Eva's like pointing, oh, you can't have a point right there. Exactly, because if I drew a perpendicular line, it's no longer on the line segment. Exactly. Okay, so here we go. Compass is at the ready. So the main strategy here is we need to somehow turn this problem into a perpendicular bisector, because we know how to do that. So somehow we need to say, I want to have an equal amount from this point to the two ends of the line. How do I get this into the old problem? How do I make sure that this line segment, I want to end it like right about there, so it's equidistant here to here. I want to make this an equal line, and then it's a perpendicular bisector. How do I do that? And we're going to only use our compass here. Anyone have an idea? Just think about it now. If you know the answer, just relax. Think about it for 10 seconds. How do I make it so that this line will be turned into a perpendicular bisector if I go through this point? Somehow I need to make a point over here. We're thinking. Right? I think a lot of people have an answer. No, Chris, I'm just sorry. I just want to give time to think. All right. I want to see how many people have an idea with raised hands. Just quiet raised hands. How many people have an idea? I want to see how many, like, maybe it's wrong. I don't care. Just a rough idea. Eva has a hand up higher. Yes, okay. Well, Steph, you don't have an idea?
Nope.
All right. It happens, yeah. All right, so I'm going to feel like calling on someone that normally doesn't talk. So, Andrea. How are we going to do this? What's your idea?
She doesn't need to talk. She just it's like a human character.
You measure those 2 points.
That
one.
This one and this one? Okay, with the compass, let's go ahead and do that. So with your compass, maybe we should have labeled these points, huh? Can we label this point, I don't know, P, because that's our main point, and we can say this is A and B. A and B. So measure the distance between which 2 points again, Andrea?
P and B.
P and B. Okay, let's do that. And then what are we going to make that circle around? Are we going to make that circle around P, A, or B?
Okay, answer that one.
Wouldn't it be around P though? Because then you want
Yeah.
that dot on that line segment though.
Yeah, Chris has it, and that's the correct idea. So Andrea gave us the first half of the correct solution, and Chris gave us the second half. Thank you both. Yeah, so go ahead and measure from P to B, and I'm going to try my best here. It needs to be a circle, first of all. I think it's going to be roughly that big. I need to move it around P. Okay, so it needs to be a little bit bigger.
Is it okay if it's not a full circle, just like a part?
Yes, exactly. It doesn't need to be a full circle because what we are really looking for is the intersection. That looks about right. We're really looking for the intersection over here. So you really only need this line over here.
Found it.
And let me repeat that because that is important. You really don't need a full circle. You just need this line over here where my mouse is if you're paying attention. You really only need this tick mark. Once you get that tick mark, we're going to go ahead and make that a point. And keep in mind, I'm going to be asking you guys what the steps were. So hopefully you're remembering what we're doing here.
Oh, man.
We made this a point. What should we call this point?
Z.
J.
Z.
No, J.
Z was first.
Alright, I see what it is.
All right. So now we have officially made a new line segment ZB. Now we've turned this into a perpendicular bisector. Go ahead and do it. That's the only additional step in going to make a perpendicular line through a point is first you need to make sure that you have a line of the same length where it's turned into our old problem.
Would you do A to P or something, or no?
A to P?
Is that wrong?
Not. I mean, it could be used, but remember, in our last notes, we just need a circle that goes at least halfway between Z and B. So even if you measure Z to B, that works. You just need a circle that will intersect twice. One circle around B,
We have
one
to
circle
go
around Z.
A, right?
A, we don't care about this anymore. You can forget about all this. We really only care about the line segment Z to B. And if you're having trouble, just skip it or relax. All right, so perpendicular line sector. You can go ahead and even erase this circle. You don't need it anymore. I could go ahead and just click on this circle. I don't need this circle anymore. You can delete it. We only care about ZB and P. We're doing a perpendicular bisector for line segment ZB. You should remember how to do that from the homework. You should remember how to do that from the lesson yesterday. Go ahead and do that now. I'm going to give you guys a 30-second head start, and then I'm going to catch up with you. But I do want the circle for the notes. And maybe, I wonder if this will help us. So I'm going to draw with red what the steps were. Our first step was to draw this circle. The second step was to make this point. Ooh, now we can keep track of what happened where. Perpendicular bisector. How did I do that? All right, that was about 30 seconds for your head start. So remember, you want to make a circle around Z and a circle around B such that they intersect. So it can't be too small. Here's a bad example. If I have this same circle around, if this circle was around B and the same circle was around Z, they would not intersect. I need a bigger circle, so let's make this bigger, Mr. Sindel. Perfect. It does. I don't want to confuse it for the other size, but here's. Oops, that's not a circle anymore. There's a circle that I'm going to put around B. That looks about right to me. I don't think it's a circle anymore. Let me try again. I want to be exact here. Actually, maybe I should even change the color here so we know that it's a different shape.
Wait, are we doing it around B or around P?
Around B and Z. We don't care about P anymore. We did a circle around P so that we got our line segment ZB. So make sure your circle, Mr. Sindel, is around B. The same circle around Z. Ooh, my circle should have been bigger. Mine didn't intersect. See how I made a mistake? My circles didn't intersect, so I need to make them bigger.
I don't know if I did this right.
There. Now it's bigger around B.
Yeah, mine's a little longer.
Ew. Excuse you, Chris.
Mine is a little bit off as well. And that's because my circles are probably a little bit imperfect. So I'm going to kind of fudge this a little bit. There. I fudged it a little bit because my circles were off. But if you use a compass, it should be exact. You guys should have the exact solution. I don't have a compass, so that's my excuse. You guys have a
I have an
compass.
excuse. I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I guess I did somewhere in there, so now what?
So I don't want to confuse you guys. This intersection doesn't need to be at P. It can be anywhere. This intersection could be above P. It could be below P. But it should be somewhere on this line where P is on the perpendicular bisector now. All right, I'll come around and check our notes when we do the summaries to see if you got it right. So go ahead and make these points actual points, so where the circles intersect. So that was I'm going to call this step 3. Wait, that wasn't step 3. Step 3 was doing these circles. This was step 3. This was step 3. And then step 4 was making these points. Step 4 was making the points. And then step 5, I maybe should have made this one a little bit over. Step 4 was making the points. And then step 5 is doing this. We have a line now, a line segment.
Here's like,
Yeah, I'm cold.
wait,
Man, I really wish this program had a compass so that I wasn't off so much. It should be a perpendicular bisector. It looks a little bit off down here, but it should be a perpendicular bisector now. And that final step was step 5. So I'll call this step 5.
Perfecto.
All right.
Perfecto.
So now what happens is if you erase all of the circles, all of the points,
Nope, happened.
and you leave point P, and you leave the line, you have made a line that went through that original point. All right, let's write out those steps. So you guys are going to help me for this. What was step 1?
Draw a circle.
What do we measure?
Zebra.
Yeah, B and B.
B and P, right?
Yeah.
So
B and B.
we'll say measure BP, circle around. What was the circle around? Around P. Perfect. I'm really abbreviating here. This is not strictly mathematics at all. I can make this more strict, but this is just for our notes for what we did. So 2. What was step 2?
Make a circle around P.
Mm.
When the lines intersect, you get C.
Yeah, so the intersection is Z. I agree. Intersection is Z. What was step 3?
Make circles around Z and B.
Yep. Circles around Z and B. And we'll make a note here so that they cross. And maybe intersect is a better word, but I want to stay short here. Step 4. What was step 4?
Okay, the second point for like the perpendicular.
So technically we didn't label those points. Let's label them on our diagram. So I'm going to call this a new point, even though it looks like it's the same point, P. Let's call this...
P1.
no, that's going to confuse us. Let's choose something else.
P2.
W.
I heard S and W. S and W. So intersection,
P3. What?
that was S and W.
W for weirdo Chris.
S and W.
Widow?
And finally, step 5 was what?
Make the
It's a Cleo.
line.
Make the what?
Make the line.
Yeah. Line through what points?
P and C and S and W.
Through S and W. All right. Cool. We learned half of what we need to learn today.
Is it it?
By the way, the homework tonight, it doesn't have an angle bisection, which we're about to learn, but it does have 2 review problems from the last lesson yesterday. All right, so the final thing that I need to teach you guys today is an angle bisection. Here we go.
Are we doing?
Are we gonna have time to do homework in class?
I hope so. This should go fast. You guys are participating very well. No, we already have homework.
Yeah.
If we finish, we can. I want to change this to
We have
blue.
homework for home.
If you want to do that, that works too.
What's the meaning? Oh yeah.
Angle bisection.
Let's come see me.
Shh.
All right, go ahead and with your straight edge, make an angle. I will repeat my instructions because I feel like people were talking. With your straight edge, make an angle. It's helpful if the angle is relatively big, like this angle. Don't make it too skinny. I purposely made one of my lines much longer than the other line because sometimes angles happen that way. And I want to start by labeling some things. Do you guys want to learn some Greek?
No.
Some Greek letters?
Nope. I just want to get
I
stuff.
already did it in English.
Yeah, we do it already. Do
That's
that.
too much.
Too much?
Yeah.
No, we do that in this class.
But we don't need it in this class.
All right, how about we do cool things?
Heart. Sorry.
That's what I was thinking too.
I think you forgot to do his homework.
This is heart.
So that was like really six.
This is, okay, my stars need some work.
We have a vocabulary.
This is star. This is smiley face.
Star. Fish.
You guys took it? That one is not my grade.
All right, so angle bisection. So somehow I need to make sure that I start out with 2 lines that are the same. So how can I do that? Help me out.
What?
I want this line segment to be the same length as this line segment. So I need to cut this off somewhere, but I don't know where to cut it off.
You measure the star and the heart.
Well.
Measure star heart, okay? And then what do I do with that?
You
Pop it down that line.
Okay,
No,
no,
just kidding. You make a circle around the star.
Make a circle.
Circle around star, I heard.
Yeah.
So measure star to heart and make a circle around star. Let me try
So that's a big circle.
doing that. I think it's going to be about that big. I'm getting better and better at estimating. Oh, it needs to be bigger, Gio. Look at that.
Ah, what? That's a big
Okay, that was too big. Okay, go back down.
So yeah, from the start to the heart.
To go through the heart?
That's a big. Oh, bro. All gonna give me passion. I'm gonna pick up the
Feel excited.
All right, and you don't really need to make a full circle again, right? You only need to figure out where we're cutting this line. So you only need to make a little tick mark down here.
Okay, I was like, it's Friday today?
tomorrow.
Today's my Friday.
Tomorrow?
We should call that one.
I don't like doing circles. My circles never come
You don't need to make the entire circle. You just need to make a tick mark right here.
Let's just like do it like that.
I still gotta practice though.
You should
All right.
call that one.
So this was step 1, making the circle. Oh, actually, I don't want to make this the one there. I know that there's going to be other stuff there. So step 1 was making the circle.
Except,
Step 2, we're going to label that point. What point should this be called?
unicorn.
D3.
I can't not make a unicorn. I'm sorry. Something easy for me to write.
Amazing.
A dog. A dog.
A dog is too hard, Chris.
You just circle
I can do a smiley face.
2 circles with 2 lines.
Square.
Okay, this is going to be square.
Come on.
Come on.
Really?
Oh my god.
At least make SpongeBob out of that.
SpongeBob.
Okay, SpongeBob has 2 legs now. Okay.
Yeah.
This is going to be SpongeBob. This point is... I need to do something simple to draw, Chris.
Sorry.
Okay, this is SpongeBob. This point is SpongeBob now.
I will. I'll put the holes in too.
Okay, so now what we've done, we can go ahead and delete the circle. We don't need it anymore. Now we don't need to worry about this part. You can scribble it out. We don't need it. We have this beautiful angle here. So, how do I measure to find the distance that's halfway between these 2 points? And that should ring a bell. Let me repeat it. Halfway between 2 points. There's a specific word that we use that starts with a B.
Bisect.
Bisect. Does bisect make us think of anything that we've been doing for the last 2 days? How do we bisect?
Cut it.
Yes. Cut it in half.
Full head.
Cut it into 2 halves. But how do we construct that cut into 2 halves?
Use this, my Bob.
You're going to use a compass.
You make a circle around the heart.
Make a circle around the heart and... What size is the circle?
Doesn't matter. Does it?
It doesn't matter as long as
It crosses.
it crosses. Exactly. So when I'm trying to bisect, I make 2 circles that are large enough to cross. So make 2 circles around Heart and around SpongeBob. Let's do it.
SpongeBob.
2 circles.
I should probably make this a different color. They have to
Okay,
be.
calm down.
Last time they didn't intersect.
Wait, really? Because your picture's small, bigger than mine.
Yeah, it's a.
So circle around SpongeBob
Like
and
stuff.
circle around the heart to make him cross.
Yes.
Jesus.
Dang it!
No, just grow like this. Just grow like this.
Joe, you make it look so easy.
It is easy.
What can you do? Wait.
Wait, excuse me.
All right. Mine is not going to be as precise as I would like. But I made my 2 circles. So I'm going to go ahead and label that. That was step number 3. Step 3 was making
You're going too fast.
these circles. They just need to be big enough to cross.
Stick it easy.
Ah,
That's way too big. That's pretty big.
So one reason that I know that my circles are off is because this point over here is definitely not an angle bisection. Both of these points should be an angle bisection.
Mine's really easy.
So I apologize that my notes aren't as exact as I would like them to make. I'm not being very precise with my notes.
Got it. Ready?
So technically you should be able to use either of these 2 points. Let's go ahead and mark. I'm going to mark this one for mine. I don't want to use red. I want to use blue.
what is that supposed to mean?
I like the color blue more. It's my favorite color. So I'm going to make that point, and I'm going to call this point, oh dear gosh, what are we calling it?
Everybody would be like, where's the devil?
We're going to call it alpha. Alpha, you can do like a fish. It's technically alpha. We're learning Greek. Here we go.
There you go.
So that is called alpha, and that was going to be step number 4. So that was step number 4. And then what is the last and final step? You guys see it?
The other jawline.
Draw a line between what 2 points?
Star and fishy.
Star and alpha, yes.
Fishy. I'm gonna call it
Star and fishy.
She was 15 and you would still call it fishy.
Hey.
Who doesn't?
I was gonna say
And hopefully, if we've done everything really accurately, we have perfectly bisected this angle.
Oh yeah.
I can't do a fish.
Come on.
Are you serious?
Look at that.
Just draw a head with 2 flies on the end.
What?
That's what I did.
So I'm going to say that that was step number
Dude, that's-
5.
When I do my fish, that's like a.
Oh, okay. I just do it like this. I just go like this.
All right, so
Wait, mine?
you guys know what I'm about to ask. What were the steps? What were the steps? Step number 1.
No, it's not. Because I have to go with that.
Just do it.
What was step 1?
It's because your things like count.
So we had to measure something before we made the circle.
Measure a star and heart.
Measure star and heart.
Yeah.
Bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Does it specifically have to be on the left side of the pineapple?
It doesn't matter where you are. You can have these notes, these procedure underneath here if you want. And circle around where? Eva?
Study.
Yep. Oh, wait. I think you're. That was step 3, yeah. So we're doing. Yeah, you're right. So star.
Why do I spell CRI for a circle? I don't know.
Sir. Circa?
No, I
Circle?
know how to spell it, but
No.
Uh-huh.
All right, someone else help me. What was step 2?
Step 2.
Find an intersection.
Yeah.
Okay, intersection. That was the intersection between our bottom line, our longer line, and what do we call him?
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. Intersection SpongeBob.
I'm trying to note that it's SpongeBob.
As long as you have the symbol and it matches the symbol over here, I think you're fine.
Oh, I just did purple one. I have to like
What was step 3?
3. Make 2 circles around SpongeBob and heart.
Okay.
That's they just have to do.
Ah, and he has the key part there. So 2 circles around. We had it, Heart and SpongeBob. Heart and SpongeBob. And then need to intersect. All right, what was step 4?
Find the intersection and we call it fishy.
Intersection. So when I say intersection, I'm usually referring to the last step, intersection of those two circles. And what is the actual name for fishy?
Alpha.
Alpha, yeah. And if you want to write it here, you can. Well, it's not going to be tested or anything. It's just cool to know. Alpha. Oh, wait, hold. That's alpa. Alpaca. Alpha is with a PH. Alpha.
So, you play a lot of games in your house.
And step 5, our final step. Not Geo. You did the last two. Give it to someone else.
Line
No,
through-
no, I got.
D3.
Say it.
Line. And then Chris will finish.
Christopher, you could say the keywords.
What are the 2 points, Chris? I need to know. Chris.
I'm gonna say it if you don't say it.
Okay. Star and fishy.
Star and
There we go.
no. It's not fishy.
Just say alpha.
Star and
Emo.
star and alpha. Okay, thank you.
Can we call it emo?
Technically, alpha shouldn't be stretched like that. I think the correct way of writing alpha. I don't even know how to. Let's see. Because it comes out like this. I think it's like this. It's a little bit elongated, pulled up this way and this way.
Yes.
Can I say shot?
And that's alpha. It's the lowercase a in the Greek alphabet.
Coffee mugs are for grandparents to enjoy coffee with their favorite grandchildren.
All right. Those are our steps. That is our lesson. Go ahead and write your summaries, and I'll hand out the homework.
What a summary.
Everyone say goodbye to Fiona.
This was like a review.
Bye, Fiona. We love you.
No.
We miss you.